So ADA continues to be on a downtrend following off my previous update where I mentioned how I was tracking a correction made up of a WX Y structure, and I mentioned how this Y wave looked to be made up of an internal three-wave move. And so I set out this internal Y wave to reach anywhere between 24.48 cents to 25.17 cents. And since tapping into this range, we have seen a small push to the upside where we have retested the 20 EMA. And so a couple of things could play out where we see a continuation to the upside, where we could either retest the 200 EMA, or even better, we then break above the local top, or we could be bearish and we continue to get rejected at the 20 EMA, and then we see a continuation to the downside where the price of ADA could then tap into this range between 23.12 cents to 24.19 cents to form this Y wave. And what is also interesting about this Y wave is, even though I'm tracking an internal three-wave move, it's possible that we could have a five-wave structure form this Y wave. And so if I was to draw this out, this here could be the wave 1, this could be the wave 2, and ADA could potentially be within this wave 3. And then we see a wave 4 and a wave 5 like so. And in order for this five-wave structure to be in play, the wave 3 as a minimum requirement will have to reach the 1.6 level of the wave 1. So if I was to bring in the fib tool and bring this to 28.87 cents. So here you can see that the 1.618 level sits at 25.18 cents, which we ended up exceeding, given that we ended up reaching a local low at 24.58 cents. And so, yeah, it's possible that we could have this five-wave structure playing out right now. And this third wave will also have to be made up of an internal five-wave move. And so I'll be on the lookout for a potential five-wave structure forming, where this is wave 1, this is wave 2, and I could see wave 3, 4, and 5 play out to form this third wave here. So again, the wave 3 as a minimum requirement will have to reach the 1.6 level of the wave 1. So if I was to bring in the fib tool and bring this to 28.5 cents. And so here you can see that the 1.6 level sits at 23.82 cents, which we haven't reached as it stands. And so, yeah, in order for the price of ADA to retrace towards the 1.6 level, the price of ADA has to continue to get rejected at the 20 EMA, and then we see a continuation to the downside. And so, yeah, as it stands, I'm bearish. You can see that on the stochastic RSI on the 4-hour chart. We are within the overbought conditions, and so I'm anticipating the price of ADA to continue to get rejected, and then we see a further push to the downside. And if I was to move on to the 8-hour chart, you can see that the bulls do have the momentum. And so for us to be bullish, what we need is for the price of ADA to break above both the 20 and the 50 EMA. And as it stands, I am leaning more towards the price of ADA continuing to get rejected at that level. If I was to remove this and check to see what other potential structures could be playing out right now. Best case scenario, what we need is for a WX Y structure form to the upside. And in order for this to be in play, the wave X would typically reach anywhere between 50 to 18.2% of the wave W. And that range sits between 22.99 cents to 26.3 cents. And so even if we were to tap into this range here, we could still remain bullish. However, if we were to exceed this range, that would then signal that we are bearish, and we could see a continuation to the downside, where the price of ADA could then tap into this range between around 17 to 20 cents. And if I go on a daily chart, you can see that we are now within the oversold conditions. And so again, it will be interesting to see where the bulls can drive the price of ADA. If we were to retest the 20 EMA, that would be a good sign. However, for us to be bullish, what we need is for the price of ADA to break above the 20 and the 50 EMA. If it just so happens that the bulls drive the price of ADA towards the 20 EMA and then we get rejected, that would then again signal that we're bearish, and we could see a continuation to the downside play out on the price of ADA. And as you guys know, I mentioned how it was possible that what we could have forming right now is a deeper correction made up of a WX Y structure, where it looks like ADA is now within its Y wave. And I'm looking out for this Y wave to tap into this range between 10 to 15 cents. and that will then form this X wave. And from then on out, I will be looking out for a reversal to the upside to form the Y wave, and this Y wave has the potential to reach some high targets.